trail up to the Eiseman Hut begins just north of Vale. It's 8.1 miles and approximately 2,700 vertical feet. On the days we were there, there was some heavy snowfall that had happened a couple of days before and continued for the first 2 days we were out there, making avalanche conditions kind of extreme at the time, but the trail goes on pretty safe terrain. First 2 miles of the trail are on a path that gets groomed every night, so that's quite a treat. For almost an additional mile, we were able to use a snowmobile track to continue. After that, we were down to just a skin track to follow, and the snow began to fall pretty heavily. A little over halfway in, the track disappeared completely, and we were on our own to find our way through the deep snow. On the steepest part and in the deepest snow, it took us a little over an hour to cover approximately a quarter mile. After approximately 7 hours of hiking, we made it to the cabin, and fortunately a group was there from the day before who had it warm and ready for us. The hut holds 16 people, and almost everybody showed up by the evening. Snow continued to grow stronger, and the winds picked up as well. I was fortunate to be able to have such a wonderful cabin to stay in. The path to the outhouse shows a pretty good idea of how deep the snow was. Frozen! Oh gosh. That's cold. In the cabin, they have a little sled for rescue if necessary. The sleeping arrangements are pretty basic. Bunk beds, occasional bed. There's a couple of double beds there as well. Some supplies for cleaning. Everybody's got stuff hanging everywhere, just trying to dry it out. You'll see more of that later around the fireplaces. That's the best place to dry them. A couple of private rooms, which sounds nice, except the heat really does not make it into those private rooms. They're pretty cold to stay in. This is the kind of the communal area with the kitchen stove right there, and then the main heating stove where you melt water, and everybody hangs their gear around that to get it dried out.
I have a whole bowl of...
The next morning, the storm was still going pretty strong. A lot of winds, a lot of snow. But later in the afternoon, it finally started to clear up. Got a little bit of sighting of the sun. I did not go out and ski in the morning. I was pretty exhausted. Was not in shape enough for the hike that it took to get in. But was finally convinced once we started seeing some blue sky to get out and do a little bit of skiing. It was approximately 3 to 4 feet of fresh powder for skiing. It was amazing, but very difficult when we fell down. So we all played it kind of cautious to try to make sure we didn't take a fall. Each run you do begins with a hike up the hill, where you then ski down to below the level of the hut and hike back up to it. Picking a spot to ski. Lots of great choices. Due to the avalanche conditions at the time, we did make sure to stay within the tighter trees in order to remain safe. We'd seen a lot of avalanche slides on open terrain, but this was heavily treed and pretty decent slope to ski on.
That's nature being psychedelic.
Yeah. During the last run of the day, we were treated to just a beautiful sunset. Every time we'd take a pause in the middle of a ski run, you just stare off and enjoy the spectacular beauty that surrounded you. In the distance, we could see Vale Ski Area, but skiing up here was just an experience on a completely different level. There were 4 separate groups staying at the cabin at the same time. None of us knew each other beforehand, but conversations sparked between everybody, and we just enjoyed this time together, making new friends. Steve put together some pretty good food for us too. It was quite impressive. Our last night there, we had a clear sky. I went outside to enjoy some of the views of the stars, unspoiled by the light of the cities. We had some good weather for our hike out. Normally you get to ski out of these huts, but with all the new snowfall, we did attempt for a little while to do it without the skins on the skis, but the fight just became too much and just not really worth it. You get exhausted on these short little uphills trying to gain any ground. So we put the skins on and basically just hiked out.
So close.
We did wind up again having to break trail on the way out. On the way in, we lost the trail. On the way out, we were able to follow it, but nobody else had, so the trail was unbroken for a good distance. And even then, when we found trail we'd been on before, there was tons of fresh snow on it. But then came that glorious moment when we reached the part of the trail that had been groomed. We put our skis in downhill mode and just skied right out with no effort. On my way out, I stopped at Ollie's in Frisco, fueled up on a delicious burger and fries. Thanks to Austin and Steve for letting me join them on this one. I had a great time, guys. Appreciate you breaking trail for me so much.